Hi, everybody. This is Tanya Parr, and welcome to our third and final week of basic training. It is just amazing how time flies, and I think the old saying says time flies when you're having fun. So I hope that this has been a fun 3 weeks as you either start your AdvoCare business or as you take it to a new level. Now, on tonight's training, we have 2 incredible guests, and I was adding up again. I like to add up the amount of monthly income because AdvoCare is about duplication, and it's about other people who have gone before you, and you can follow what they're doing. Now, my very first guest that you're going to hear from is Randy and Rhonda Stamey. Not Randy, just Rhonda. They are just qualified for Emerald Pen Level, which broken down into income, the paycheck was almost $6,000 for 2 weeks worth of work. So that's about $12,000 worth a month. Also, we have Donna Cash. Donna Cash is a AdvoCare Platinum member, which really what that means is they've helped a whole lot of other people. They're also in AdvoCare's Hall of Fame, and they know this business inside and out. Now, I will tell you that for us, Todd and Donna, were in Oklahoma when we started. We live in Social Circle, Georgia, and they were like a beacon to us. We watched what they did. We actually heard about it on the phone because there was no internet or anything like that, and we duplicated. And they were one of the ones that we loved patterning our business after. So you're going to hear from Donna as well. They have made over $1 million a year for many, many, many years. I don't know the exact monthly income. I know when you put it all together, there's probably close to $200,000 per month worth of income between the 3 of us. And I say that, again, because when I realized that AdvoCare, you could have highly successful people who weren't holding these secrets in, but literally were sharing it, and you could duplicate it, whether your goal was $1,000 a month or $500 or $10,000, you want to replace a career, whatever, it could happen here. So let's get delving in. How have the last 3 weeks been for you? Here's what I know. The first week is awesome because you're so excited and you're moving on emotion, you're moving on that passion, that energy, that excitement. Then you have your exercises, you get to the second week, and it depends on where your emotion is. Are you excited about getting on or are you not? Then you get to the third week. That's where the habits begin to be developed. Have you kept your focus on your purpose and why you're doing AdvoCare? That's when the day in and day out begins to become the habit for you. And as you build those habits, that's when your business will really grow and go to the level that you're looking for. Now, on the screen, you see 3 things. Remember the fundamentals. I love this because AdvoCare is not complicated. I am not looking for something that's got a really difficult business plan, nothing like that, and I'm sure you're not either. AdvoCare is sometimes so simple that I look at it and go, oh, come on, is that really possible that we are living this life and they're living this life, and, you know, the different people that are building businesses with 3 simple things. Number 1, use the products. We talked about that on week 1. Number 2, talk to people. We talked about that last week. And today we're going to talk about where your fortune comes from. Your fortune is going to come from number 3. That is your follow-up. So we're going to delve into that. I have Rhonda and Donna on with me. It's going to be sort of a round table. If they want to interject things, they can interject things. And I'm trying to get my screen to move, so give me just a second. But that's the cool thing about AdvoCare is that it's, there we go. The fortune is in the follow-up. I remember hearing that and thinking, oh, come on. And Donna, I think you're one of the first people that I heard say that. Why is fortune in the follow-up? Why is that so important? I don't know that I have Donna with me. The fortune is in the follow-up because our goal is excellent customer service.
Sorry, Tanya.
And the reality,
you know what?
Oh, there you are. Yes.
I've muted myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
A happy customer is a happy distributor. Tell them about it.
That's right, because here's what I know after 18 years, and I retail someone product. I follow up that first day. They hadn't even started it. Or I follow up that first day, and they didn't take it right. Or I follow up that first day. So what I found is if I follow up with people, I help them through the first couple of days on product, and they are off to a great start. If I don't call them for 5 or 6 days, not only have they not taken it, they've not taken it right, they're not getting any results, and they're frustrated. So it makes my life really miserable. So I follow up with them immediately to connect, to make it fun, make this a great experience, and you know, get to know them, and you know, you've got some great questions to follow up with here. So that's what I do.
Okay, so look at that picture. How many of us, I know you and Rhonda, have y'all ever had that kind of customer service where you're standing there and you're waiting and the people behind the counter are chit-chatting and completely ignoring you. I kind of laugh at that, but I don't want to be that person in AdvoCare. Nothing hurts my feelings more than for someone to say, oh, I don't know, I ordered it off their website. I've never heard from them again, because I know that success in your AdvoCare, you're putting something in your body. And these products, they work and they're proven, but you may have a question, just like you said, Donna, or need to change up what you're doing or understand it better. So the fortune is in the follow-up. But how do you do it? Sometimes it's scary because you're thinking, oh, I don't know what to say when I call. First of all, and I don't even have this on the screen, is include your sponsor when you're beginning. Have them ready so that if there is something that comes up, they know you're going to be calling in for a three-way call, and they're going to be able to help you through the question. So what I used to do is I would call and say, hey, could you just sit tight? I mean, I'd like to do some follow-up. Is this a good time for you this evening? Do you have any time? My sponsor would tell me when the good time was for them, and I'd say, well, will you watch for me for 30 minutes? And then at the end of 30 minutes, if it was going well and I needed her some more, I'd say, well, another 30 minutes, can you make that work? So at the beginning, include your sponsor. And then here's for your customer. Number one, make sure they know it's part of what you do. Sometimes people will say, oh, well, they don't want me to follow up. And I'm thinking, people never tell me they don't want me to follow up. But I don't really ask them if I can follow up. I tell them this is part of what I do. This is part of why you're getting AdvoCare from me, is that I'm going to help you by following up. Walk through the directions with your customer. I know it's easy to say, but the directions are on the box, or I handed them the card that takes them to ChooseAChallenge.com. Walk them through. Give them that great customer service from the get-go. Make sure your customer measures at the beginning, because when you go to follow up, they maybe have lost inches in their body, and the scale is not moving. People love numbers. The inches usually show first. Now, there's two things at the bottom in the boxes, the Bulletproof Shield and the 5 reasons that AdvoCare products don't work. And these gave me so much security when I was doing follow-up that it really got to the point that it didn't matter if my sponsor was available or not to three-way call, because I was gaining confidence with each and every one that I did with follow-up. What is our biggest concern? What if they're not getting the results they're looking for? I want to walk them through, have you taken it correctly? Those 5 reasons products don't work. How long have they been on it? Of course, we all want to get started, and we want to run to the scale on day 1 and go, oh, I haven't lost any weight yet. So you've got to be realistic about that and help your customer be realistic. So check. You've got to be sure it's taken correctly, it's taken long enough, they're moving waste. You've got to get comfortable about asking about that, about them moving waste. Ask them how much water they're drinking. Ask for specifics, because I'll have someone say, I'm drinking a lot. Now, if their norm was they were drinking 2 glasses a day and the rest was soda, then 4 glasses a day is a lot. But if we're looking for 10 glasses of water a day, 8 to 10, even 12, they're not drinking enough water. And then the last one is a medical issue. And sometimes you have to coach people up to be patient as their body is getting healthy. So those are the 5 reasons, and that will help you. Now, that Bulletproof Shield, Rhonda, Donna, either one of you want to jump in on the Bulletproof Shield? This was like, oh, my word, gave me such confidence when I was talking to new people, but also when I was following up. How would y'all use that?
Well, you know what, Tanya, I was thinking about when you first begin with AdvoCare, I think sometimes you go, okay, what if I follow up with them and they say something that scares me, or something's not working right for them, and so we'll be hesitant to think, okay, I'm not going to call them or avoid calling them because maybe we think we're not going to have an answer for them. So what I love about the Bulletproof Shield is not only do I have just to go through the Science Med Board and talk about that and the stories and the satisfaction and the endorsement, but I can always go back and say, if I don't know the answer to that, I don't know about that, but here's what I do know. And I can go back to the Science Med Board and kind of share with maybe about Dr. Dudrick. And I love sharing his story because his main thing is about nutrition, and because he invented hyperalimentation, and that is one of his key is people getting nutrients. I know that the products that they're taking are great. Maybe we just need to tweak a little something. So I use the Bulletproof Shield in that, and then when needed to just call that sponsor and say, you know what, there's a question that I don't know, but maybe you've had this question before, and most of the time they had, and do that 3-way call. And you know what happens? That customer gets happy, and all they need is just a little bit of a nudge to get right back in the direction that they need to go. And so I look now at those calls as, okay, this is something that I can go and learn from my sponsor if I need to put them on, but in the same time, I'm building that relationship and using that Bulletproof Shield to also just share with them a little bit more about AdvoCare.
You know, Rhonda, something else that came to mind as you were talking about that is also you as the person who's making the call, your calmness, your reaction is going to be contagious to your customer. I picked up the phone before and had someone there saying, oh, and they have a state of panic. You know, maybe someone hasn't used the restroom and they're on the cleanse or whatever the situation is that needs to be addressed. And I always say, ladies, first of all, you have to calm down because we've worked through this a million times. And I know when you're new, you're not really sure. But as you're making the calls, that you've got the confidence because of that Bulletproof Shield and because of knowing those 5 reasons and knowing that you've got your sponsor coaching you through, that you're going to be able to answer their questions and help them get product results. And that is for sure. Now, let's talk about this. I love helping people with some things to say. I also love for you as distributors, you own your own business. Most of you work full-time jobs or part-time jobs, and AdvoCare is something you're doing in your discretionary time. Or maybe you are working AdvoCare full-time. Treat it like a business, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes, but I treat it like a business also when it comes to following up. I love the follow-up record because it helps me keep track of my customers, where they are, about their family, about all the different things about them, and when I'm following up. And here's the other thing that happens. Maybe I've talked to somebody on day 1, day 3, and I get to day 7, and they're like, well, nothing's really changing. AdvoCare, you begin to feel different. Your energy goes up. You have better appetite control. And it doesn't take long for us as humans to kind of forget how we used to feel. Have you ever been in the car and realized you don't have your afternoon spark and you go, oh, my word, this is how I used to feel? Well, that's one of the most powerful things to me with the follow-up record. It's helping remind people, remember when I called you on day 3 and they said, that's right, I normally am sleepy this time. I'm already getting used to this. So that record is great for everything that's on there, a great way for you to keep track so that you can be following up correctly. But it also gives you some great questions to ask people so that you have that on file and you're ready and able to help them with matching up. This is available for download at parteam.com. What I do with it is I take it and I have it in a 3-ring binder, and I just put them in there, and you can do it days 1 through 31. There's a great training on Business 101 at parteam.com that Denise Novicki does about days 1 through 31, and you move it to the day when you need to call them again. And it's a great way to pay attention and to keep records. But let's keep moving because I want to give you some things to say, some questions to ask. It's not nearly so scary to call when you know what to say, when you've got all the confidence and your sponsor's on standby. Let's walk through some of these things to say. How are you feeling today on products? And then wait for them to answer. Walk me through how you're taking it. How many hours between the color packets? I remind them, take your first color packet when your feet hit the floor. Oh, my goodness, the fiber pack. The fiber pack is not a big deal. What I tell folks is put it in water, add a splash of orange juice, mix it, and drink it. That little splash of orange juice makes it so much more palatable. Our goal for you is to have smooth energy. Are you moving waste? How much are you sleeping at night? Are you skipping meals? How's your stress level? Those are some questions that you can ask with your follow-up form in front of you that is going to help you as you follow up with your customers. Now, let's talk about this. What 3 things happen during follow-up? And, Donna, I want to go to you on this one because I know you are excellent at follow-up. And sometimes you get excited and you think, gosh, everybody's going to start AdvoCare as a business. And we talked about in week 2 that only 15% of people are going to look at the business first. 85% are going to come to the business for the bridge of the products. So would you help me walk through the 3 things that happen during follow-up?
You bet. I would love to, and I want to tell you that, just helping people with what you just did on, the questions and the follow-up, so many times new people, they don't know, and when they call people, they almost ask for a bad result. They almost say, are you feeling okay? And then people say, well, you can't do that. So definitely stay with what Tanya's given you and what Rhonda's given you tonight because it's the exact right thing to do. And, the follow-up is huge for building that relationship. Number one, you're their coach. They came to AdvoCare and bought the product package, but more importantly, they bought you because they trusted you, they believed you when you told them you would help them, work with them, get the results. So number one, first and foremost, is that you're developing the relationship, and you're not going to ask a ton of questions. You're going to pick from that list questions that match their day, that match their family. You know, if they're a stay-at-home mom, you're going to maybe talk about the afternoon slump or something. You know, if they're working, you know, dark to dark, then you're going to ask maybe a few different questions. But most importantly, you're going to get excited answers. And then here's exactly what I do is, oh my gosh, Tanya, that is incredible. I cannot wait for you to share that with my friend Rhonda. Can you hang on? I want you to tell that story. I immediately put my new product customers, my follow-up, I try to put them on a three-way to tell their 2-day story. And I say, hey, Rhonda, I want you to hear from Tanya. I've just put her on the 24-day challenge. She's on day 2, and she is a champion. Listen to what she's already done. And then I just let them start talking like Tanya's talking about. Now my 85% product users, the scale just went up because Tanya is, you know, going to be blown away by what Rhonda tells her. So, you know, and if I don't know an answer, if she says, well, I'm doing this, and I don't know why this isn't working, I'm going to say, that is a great question. Oh, my gosh, I'm glad you asked me. We're on day 2. We're going to fix that right now. Hang on one second. I'm going to get Rhonda on the phone, and I don't even ask her if she wants to do a 3-way. I mean, this is like we're doing it now. We're going to get Rhonda on the phone. So I put Tanya on the phone with Rhonda, and I tell Tanya what, you know, the story, what's going on, and that's how I do my follow-up. I just get real interactive. I make it real fun. And you know what? The phone quit weighing 50 pounds. I started getting excited about talking to people because I know one thing. The products work, period. They work. I have to work with people each and every day, differently each and every time. But the one thing I do know, the products do work, and I have to help people to understand that. So that's how I get started, Tanya.
I think you've done an amazing thing to remind people. You know, we talked about your sponsor being on standby, and sometimes people only call the sponsor when they have a person who has problems. I'm like, that's not the best time to call. Of course, it's part of the process, but the best time is exactly like you said. When someone's doing well on products, that's when a 3-way call can help take a step toward the recruiting. That's how I came to AdvoCare. I got started on products, and at the beginning I had a few product issues because of some things I had going on. It was about day 5 when I had the turnaround that I got put on the phone, and boy, my interest level was a whole lot different when I was feeling great, and that was a perfect time to begin that recruiting conversation. So remember this, most business builders begin as happy customers. We say it over and over and over again because it's so important. So that's where we're going to wrap up about follow-up. Use the products, talk to people, follow up. Now let's go back and have a reminder. Because we have it all, you can earn income. Everything we've done over basic training is to take us where you've got the basics together and that AdvoCare has all their pieces together so that we can earn income. Also, I want to take you back and remind you, and maybe it's changed over the last 3 weeks, what do you want? Have you really stopped and considered it? I can't tell you the number of people, including my husband, who we got started in AdvoCare, and we wanted to just fund the 4G network. We wanted a few $100s a month so that we could have that extra income in our house. But when we saw and we met people who were at silver, gold, 3-star gold, ruby, we saw the incomes that were correlating with that. We realized, you know what? These are people like me. I'll never forget going to my first success school 2 weeks into starting AdvoCare. So far out of my comfort zone, I cannot even begin to tell you how far I was out of my comfort zone. But I remember getting there, and we were in a hotel, and I remember had a big waterfall, and it was over in Arlington, Texas. And I had heard Tom and Donna Cash on the phone. I had actually spoken to them on the phone, but I had never met them in person. Well, I don't know that Donna even knows this, but what I did first is I got to watch them from afar. I remember them being down by the waterfall. I remember a group of guys in coaches shorts who'd been working out, and I remember a bunch of girls laughing, and they were friends, and they were cute. They were dressed cute. They were having fun. And I remember thinking, those are people I would want to hang out with. I'd want to go barbecue with them. I'd want to go to dinner. We'd be at a ball game side by side watching our kids play ball. And I got so excited the very first moment I saw them because they were regular. They were people like Benji and me. They were people we could relate to. I couldn't relate to $1 million a year income, but I could relate to where they had come from. Donna, do you mind just very quickly telling y'all's income story, how your process in AdvoCare started? Because you guys are at the platinum level, and most of this group has probably never heard that before. Y'all were teachers, teacher and coach, and would you tell that real quick before we keep moving?
I will tell it, and I'll tell it real quick because I know there's a lot to talk about. But we did come to AdvoCare for products through a phone call from Todd's best friend, and after going to our first Success School in Dallas, saw the business opportunity, and we came back with a $200 a month goal from that school in the fall of 1995, and quickly saw that, very part-time, we could earn extra income and paid off $82,000 debt in the first 14 months. Todd, at that point, saw a great opportunity to build a business in AdvoCare, and I was a little more nervous and conservative, and I stayed at my teaching job, and he took a year's leave of absence from his job to see if AdvoCare would work. In our second year, we earned $300,000, and at that point, it was working. So he did walk away from teaching and his coaching, and our third year earned $700,000, our fourth year $1,015,000, and since 1999 have had $1 million income based on, just a duplicatable system that is in place that Charlie taught. Went to every meeting, every training. One thing I can tell you, if there was an AdvoCare training, we were there, and Tanya was there, and Rhonda's there. That's where the success comes. It's not out doing it on your own, and still 18 years later, we're attending events. I was in Fort Worth last weekend with a big training. Todd was in Oklahoma City, and we cannot wait for Success School in February. That's just where you grow as a person, and since this is a business that's all about you, you need that personal growth, and your check will follow your personal growth. So we realized that, and, our first check was $6, I think, or $12, and I don't think that says a whole lot of who we were back in 1995, but Charlie sure put a system in place that's very duplicatable, and it stood the test of time for 20 years. So we're excited about the opportunities today as we were, back then, Tanya.
You look at those pictures and you look at the 4G, and I realized that $200 a month that you and Todd wanted first, that was funding your 4G, and that was going to give you freedom. Same thing with Randy and Rhonda. It was giving them freedom. But then when you look and you realize what's possible, and most of us, we have lids on our life as far as our bosses put it on us, or our industry, or our education, or our environment where we live, or the idea of going out and being an entrepreneur and spending millions of dollars and gambling it, risking whether or not you're going to be able to make your money back. You don't have any of that with AdvoCare. So for those of y'all that are watching the webinar, or as you're watching the basic training, what do you want? Really nail it down, write it down, and most importantly, share it with your spouse. Y'all talk about it together, and then I would also share it with your sponsor. But what do? Okay, so you know what you want. You know that you've got to do those three things. Use the product, talk to people, follow up. You know all the how-tos of that. Let's break it down. And, Rhonda, I love the way you share the daily activity tracker. We don't necessarily have to go through every single page. This is also on parteam.com. But Donna mentioned it. Charlie put in place a system, and that system was expanded on by Todd and Donna and many of the other early distributors who made it into something where we can get started. And what's really cool is Todd and Donna, when they started 19 years ago, or how did you say 17 or 19, when we started almost 14 years ago, it's the same system. When Rhonda started a few years ago, it was still the system. What is so incredible now is the timing of AdvoCare. If you can be consistent on these activities and staying plugged in, like Donna said, you can grow faster than ever before. So, Rhonda, when you and Randy came to AdvoCare, you had been product takers, so that really wasn't your concern. Y'all needed money. Y'all needed to replace a business. And from day one, y'all never really goofed around with it. It was never your hobby. It was never something, oh, we're just going to give it a try. Y'all came in as business owners already and treated this like a business, and it has paid you like a business for a very long time already. For you guys to be here just a few years, it started paying like that very quickly. Will you help me explain that and the importance of treating it like a business?
You know, Tanya, I was thinking about that. When you make the decision, okay, I am going to do AdvoCare, first of all, you're making a fantastic decision because it has blessed us in so many ways, friendship, just financially, our health. But when you make that decision, write that decision down. And just remember that you made that decision, because when Randy and I started, we said we're going to do this as a business. So when the day got tough, or maybe there was a week that we go, wow, we haven't really seen anybody getting on board with us, or whatever that might be that didn't look like we were going toward our goals, we still went back to that, but this is the decision we made. So there wasn't a wavering, well, just because it isn't working like we think it should today, that maybe we're not doing AdvoCare. That decision was made up front. So make that decision under your goals and purpose and stick to the decision, because that's what, when the days get tough, you're going to go back to that, because it is a business. When I think about how if you're employed right now at another job, you have an employer and he has a plan. If you're self-employed, you've got to have a plan. Either way, there is a plan that is in place. So if you think about you are your employer, so you've got to have a daily plan, and that's where that activity tracker comes in. For Randy and myself, we started out and we said to each other, who are you going to talk to today? If you're working this as a single person, then you write that down before you go out the door and say, okay, I am going to share AdvoCare with 3, 5, maybe it's 10, whatever your goal is for the day. And before you lay your head down at night, go, okay, I did well on that today. And so you're going out the door with that purpose in mind. I love the daily tracker because the first thing is take your products correctly. And I think over the last couple of weeks in basic training, that's been a huge, am I taking the products correctly? And in this tracker particularly, you're going to give yourself points for that. If you're a checkoff person, this will be great for you, because you can already that morning go, okay, I got 2 points for taking my products correctly. Then you'll just follow down as like we said, sharing, and just share who you're going to share with that day, following up like we've talked about. And then the other is using your sponsor, getting on calls with them, doing 2-on-1s with them. Your sponsor is there to help you. They are ready for you to succeed and go to the goals that you have said, this is what I want, whether it be that extra couple of $100 a month, or where it's just like we were talking about, is maybe there's a salary you saw on that chart, you go, you know what, I'd like to make $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is a month. And you know what I love about AdvoCare is it's day-to-day putting those nuggets down, and you'll look back and go, wow, we're hitting those goals. And when you think about weight loss, and we talk a lot about that because we see in AdvoCare so many people hit their goals, they don't wake up the next day and they've lost their 50 pounds in a day. They do it day to day, and that's what this business is. And then before you know it, you're reaching those goals that you have set in the very beginning. So the first thing is just making that decision and then working that plan every day, because you're employing yourself.
Well, Rhonda, you have just given us a wealth of training that is so applicable that if you will take it and do it, your business is going to grow. That is awesome. Tracking it, how important was it to you to actually get it on paper?
How important for me, it was, I'm a checkoff person, and I had to see what I was doing for that day. And, I worked for people, Tanya, and when I came in, just like as a business, they said, okay, these are the things that you're going to do for the day. So for me, I use a big calendar. I write the names down and my calls down because that's what works for me. And so I do that the night before. I don't wait till 12 o'clock the next day and say, oh, I got to go talk to somebody. I already have that plan in place, because you know what, I know me, I might go off and say, oh, well, I'll have coffee with somebody or start with somebody, or I'll meet them at, for lunch or whatever. By the time the day gets to 4 o'clock, I haven't done anything. So I get the plan in place the day before. I actually look at mine the week before, and I schedule time for Faith and my family. And then I look and go, okay, where are my meetings going to be and who am I going to meet with? And also for time for training. And I love what Donna said is working on yourself, because if we don't schedule time to work on ourselves, whether it be physically and especially, mentally and spiritually, and just working on our personal growth, then we'll put that on the back burner too. So just making a decision to put a plan in place.
That's awesome. Print the daily activity tracker. Use it. I faxed that in. I had someone hold me accountable. Actually, I was holding myself accountable. I don't know that they ever even looked at it. They never said a word about it. But for us, we went and we grew from the level called Ruby, which I think is about $80,000 a year, to Emerald in less than 90 days by doing this activity tracker, because it made that much of a difference. And that's when Vichy had the option to walk away from his career. But bottom line, what are you building? What's the ultimate goal? You're going to have a lot. We're using the product. We're talking to people. We're following up. We're introducing them to people. We're going to training. We're working on ourselves. What are we looking for? I remember hearing Donna and Todd's income and Mark and Pam Rushmore's income, and I thought, well, they must be working with hundreds of people. And Pam broke it down and said, Tanya, y'all are looking for 3. You can get to the level called Ruby, which is about $80,000 a year, with 3 working people. And I'm like, no, there's no way. Donna, is there a way?
Absolutely, there's a way, and it's that duplicatable system that you've been talking about the entire call that Rhonda just gave you. If you're doing those things, can you find 3 people that have a reason and a purpose for earning income? And if they do those same exact things, you're building an organization. And I know, Tanya, you have the slide of the blueprint up, and when new people look at that, they see, wow, that's a lot of lines, a lot of people. I don't know that many people. And I say, great, you need to know 3, because our duplicatable system is, if you know 3 people that want to, build a business, that want to earn income and get out of debt, put their kids through college, and I plant a lot of seeds. If you know 3 people, chances are they know 3. And the great thing about this business is what we teach them will duplicate through our organization. So just taking a look at the blueprint, you see the 3 people that you personally are going to sponsor. And then again, it's how quickly you can get them in front of your sponsor or on the phone and let your sponsor help paint the vision of what 2013 can be for them. It's not so your sponsor can tell their story. It's not so you can tell your story. You've got to turn it around, and you've got to paint the picture what this year can be for them. When they see that, they're going to lock arms with you, and you're going to have to teach them. They've got to paint the vision for others. Do you want to come along with us? But I love the blueprint because there's a lot more in that than lines and circles. There's people, there's relationships, there's families, there's needs. There's everything that when I see a name, I can tell you about their kids. I can tell you who's in college. I can tell you things, and that's what the blueprint's been able to do for me, like Tanya and Rhonda mentioned. It's been able to help me organize and find who is building, where do I need to spend 80% of my time, and, draw that out. So,
well, Donna,
just kind of an overview.
And I actually keep this blueprint printed out, and I'm constantly putting people in the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have them in with pencil. Maybe they're doing great on product, and we're just beginning to have the business conversation. But what's really weird to me is how many times I've had somebody in the blueprint put them in that by the people there in the block, and all of a sudden it begins to happen. And it's not that there's any hocus pocus or anything like that with it, but my conversation with those people, it definitely goes along with that. So I write people down when they get involved with AdvoCare. I write them in, and then I help them find 3, and then I help those people find 3. And that is how you build a successful business. That's how you build one like you and Todd and the Stamies and so many people that are viewing this webinar have done, a business that you literally could walk away from and still be paid for the rest of your life because you built people. And I love what you reminded us. On that blueprint, it's not just names. It's not just letters. It is people. It is families. Also at the top, you'll see 8515, and I always remind myself of that. that this blueprint is going to fill out primarily through people that are on products. Even when I get down into the second and the third level, it's going to be people, getting a lot of people on products, and then the business builders are going to come. So reminder of that always, 85-15, because here's what I know. When we realize that something is normal and that that's just the way the process works, then you enjoy it and you're not worried about it. But if you're thinking, well, why isn't everybody jumping into this business with me? I'm excited. Maybe you are one of the 15%. Then you can get discouraged and think, what's wrong with my business? But instead, if you remember that, you can have a great time. If you get people started on products, you give them the options, you paint the vision, and you're able to compress time when you talk to those people that you are the closest to. So finally, now what? At the end of basic training, each and every day, we have a fork in the road. You are the boss of your AdvoCare business. You own it. No one else can tell you what to do. You don't hit a time clock. No one is going to call you and say, you have to do this. You, every day, have a fork in the road. For me, it was once we made the decision, I wasn't at the fork of the road anymore, because every day I got up and I continued walking down the road that we knew was going to lead us to a different life. So for you, what is it that you want? You have the basics. Now you just have to trust it and you have to go for it. Thank you, Donna and Rhonda, so much. I want to wrap it up with one thing, and this is something Benji reminds me of all the time. If you think the pain of change is hard, wait till you feel the pain of not changing. That's just something to think on, to really chew on, because when Benji and I looked at AdvoCare, we had no idea the differences that it was going to make in our lives, but not just for us, not just the PARs, but for so many other people. Some days were painful. Some days were hard. I hate hearing no, but it's part of the process. Some days we were tired. We were still working jobs. We were still working this in with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and as they've grown up, we've been working it. And we look back and we say, wow, thank you that we made that decision. Because if you think the pain of change is hard, wait till you feel the pain of not changing. Y'all have an incredible journey with AdvoCare, and we look forward to seeing you at Success School, at a training, at a meeting, and meeting as many of you in person as we can. Good night. God bless you all.